All right. Hello, everybody. This is a great time. We're just having different conversations. And right now we're going to be talking with Emily Williams. She and Dawn Dunkman lead a ministry called A Dwelling Place. And I have been honored to know about them for the last year and a half and 2 years almost, and then to be involved with them. And so I wanted you all to know about that. So, Emily, good to have you here today. And
Thank you.
tell us a little bit about a dwelling place. Tell us about what's going on with that, how it started, why it started, and what's going on.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Chad, for having me. So, A Dwelling Place started out of a small group at Mercy Road Church in Carmel, um, where we were focusing on the group was called Local Orphan Voice, and it that birthed out of just a passion and a desire to help children and families to stay out of the foster care system. So whether that meant maybe bringing them home if they had already been taken away from their families, or preventing that from happening. So we would consider ourselves family preservation. So our goal is to keep that family unit together.
Good.
Um, Dawn and I both were foster parents who ultimately adopted, and we're super thankful for our kids, but also realized that what if somebody had helped their families, their biological families, and supported them? What could that have looked like? And sometimes it's inevitable, right? Foster care and adoption is there for a reason, and sometimes it's inevitable. But oftentimes, and we see this all the time with our families, if they have support, they can really get out of these tough situations so much easier. I
Mhm.
also recognized how much support I needed. I have 5 kids, and raising 5 kids, my husband and I, it was a lot. And I was thankful that my parents and my mother-in-law were there to help, and friends and family. So I want to be that for somebody else.
Yep. And you guys are doing that. I like to focus in and want people to really hear. You said you're helping them to stay out of the system, which is so difficult. If you've never been involved in helping families or working in at-risk neighborhoods or difficult neighborhoods, you might not understand. If you've never been involved with people or involved with the system, you might not understand that you try to avoid getting into the system, because once you're in there, it's hard to get out, and it
Mhm.
becomes even a burden in a way. And so avoiding that is so phenomenal. You guys help in very specific ways. How are you doing
We
that?
do.
What's the help that you do?
So on the front end, we provide furniture, mostly beds and dressers. We also do a lot of diapers and wipes, towels and washcloths, just some kind of essential things. DCS has, they consider a bed for a child essential. So if a family, let's say the kids are in foster care and mom has really worked hard and has done everything she needs to do, but DCS says, okay, but yeah, you have to have beds for your kids, then we'll bring those beds in and all the bedding. But we also understand that giving somebody a bed is not going to change their life.
Right.
So then our goal is to wrap around and support them, whatever that looks like. If that means, obviously, if they have a bed, they probably don't need housing, but oftentimes we're helping with housing, we're helping with recovery. Um, I'm currently working with a mom who found out she has cancer, so working healthcare, trying to navigate that. So there's a lot of different things that we do because we know that really the key is relationship.
It's and that's the key to everything, isn't it? Relationship.
For
Uh,
sure.
God has designed us that way, and so we do it. We do it that way. One thing is, you did mention you guys were birthed out of a group that was meeting at Mercy Road, but that doesn't mean you guys are a ministry of Mercy Road, right? I mean, you're connected with them, but it is not.
Yes.
It's not. This is not a sponsored ministry of Mercy Road by any means.
No, we are a separate 501(c)(3. We're our own nonprofit.
Hmm.
We're a mission partner with Mercy Road, but yeah, we are our own 501(c)(3).
And when you people look up a dwelling place, you have to make sure you look up a dwelling place, because there's the dwelling place, there's dwelling place, but they are a dwelling place. And
Inc. A Dwelling Place Inc.
Inc. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
And guys, they are doing phenomenal, phenomenal work. And like I said, when you get the system involved in your family, they really do take over everything. When my kids were little, we had two kids and one bed and a crib, right? And so then when the one had to move out of the crib, we for a minute we had one on a pallet on the floor till we could get what we needed. But if you're in the system, you can't do that. Because
no,
they're in your house, they're going to be taking those kids from you. And so what you guys provide, whether it be the bed or you guys, I know you guys help with so many other things. That is so key. And then what I love, and I hopefully you guys that are listening heard this, they help them around the whole way around. It's been great to watch how you link up with other ministries. Some of their partners of ours also, some are not, but um, that help families in other ways and in other capacities. Spring Sweetwater being one of them, and
hmm,
you guys linking with them. Okay, so I know that you guys have many stories. In fact, I ask you people who are listening to this, go to our website, click on partners page. We're adding a partner page right now. It has a serve page and a dwelling places listed. Or you click there, it'll take you to their website, or just go directly to them. The video they have, your guys' video is so cool about explaining about who you are. And so that's why we wanted to be able to link to that too, just so people can see what you're doing. Um, Give us some of the stories. What are some of these lives that you've been able to touch, and what's happened?
yeah. I mean, one of the moms on the video, actually, I have been working with her for about 2.5 years. And when I met her, she was homeless. She had been living with a friend, but she was going to have to leave his house. And she had an almost 2-year-old little boy. And when I first met her, all the request that I got was she needs hygiene items. And so when I called her, she was like, that's what I need right now is I just need hygiene items. So my husband and I, we went to the house, we took her hygiene items, but then of course started talking.
Mhm.
Um, and I just started to talk with her and find out some of the challenges that she was having and some of the stumbling blocks, that she was trying to overcome. But ultimately, the big, you know, problem was she was homeless. So I connected her with Family Hope, because she couldn't have her baby homeless if she was going to be homeless and needed to figure out that space. So I connected her with Family Hope. So we got hosting for the baby. But again, that was an hard decision. We both cried
Yes.
the day that he had to go into hosting, and not because it was bad, right? Like, but it was very difficult. This is a mom who loves her baby. She didn't
Mhm.
want to give her baby to a stranger to raise, but she knew that was her best decision at that time. Um, Ultimately, he only ended up being there for a couple weeks because she got shelter for him. Or she got into a shelter, and then she was there for probably maybe 2 months. And currently, she's been in her own apartment now for a little over a year. The little boy just turned 3. I mean, she's doing great, but it was some hard stuff to navigate. In our phone calls, although they were like, "Oh, can you help me? I'm not exactly sure where to go." They were, "I'm having a really hard day. Can you just be a friend? Can you just talk to me?" And now she's my friend. Like, she knows that I call her friend. She's my friend. She's not my client, or she's not, she's my friend, and I love her and I love her little boy, and we sometimes watch him. Like, we're just friends now. But that's when you don't have anybody, that's
Yeah.
what you really need.
You
So,
know,
yeah.
Emily, what you're saying, a couple things I don't think people grasp sometimes. And that is number one, that the people you work with are lives are not changed massive groups at a time. They're changed one at a time.
Yeah.
And it takes time and it takes involvement. And it's not a one-hit wonder. Everybody, because everything gets solved in a quick way, or you hear a missionary come and speak at church, right? And all they got is these positive stories. They did this and that happened, and they did that and that happened, and they did. And when you start really doing it, you realize that all you're doing is kissing frogs, and you
Mhm.
keep continuing, right? You're not
Oh
not
yeah.
the miracle worker. You're just the one that's in there, hanging out, being there, loving people one at a
Yeah.
time. And
And it's
then
messy. It's messy work. It's
sure,
not, this
sure.
is messy, hard work.
And I loved what you also said, because other people sometimes don't grasp this. And that is, the people you're serving cannot be clients.
Right.
They are not a project, and they're not something just to work on. Their
Hmm.
situation is something to work on, but they are
Hmm.
people to work with. And
Right.
they are people. They're not a project. And for the years when I was doing an urban ministry, I would tell the volunteers all the time, the homes you're going to, these are people, and
Yeah.
they're not a project. And if you think of them as a project, you're going to treat them as that. But if you
Yeah.
realize that these are people that God loves, and He created them, and He wants a relationship with them, so we have to have a relationship. I love it.
And how would Jesus work with, right? Like Jesus didn't look at them as projects, right? That's not, and I tell my kids that all the time. My main goal is when somebody walks away from me, I just want to say they saw Jesus. And not because I preached to them. It's
Right.
because I loved them. Like I know Jesus would want me to love them.
You mentioned Family Hope, and that is another one of. I'm so happy they're a partner with us with Indie Network. And those people who don't know Family Hope, and will just so they get that your reference there, Family Hope is a really a hosting ministry. They will
Hmm.
host children for a family for 30 days, 60 days, whatever. So that way the family can get back up on their feet, and then the parents do not sign away any rights. The parents, and they never go into the system. This is just a hosting ministry, and they do just phenomenal work. And I'm hoping to build one of these with Lena and them too. So,
Oh yeah.
but and you mentioned there how would Jesus treat people? I look at it all the time, because I remember writing a sermon years ago, Emily. It was called "Ripped Off at the Cross," and what I had realized was that if Jesus died to save me, He got robbed, because He
Hmm.
gave everything, and what He got was me. And when we realize that I look at that as Him being robbed, but He doesn't.
Right. Right.
And so when we start thinking that we've got it together, and man, God is so good to be, He's working with me, and we're partners like that. Well, yeah, but you're the weak end of the link there. And
Right.
and
It's
he
true.
he's I tell people whenever, and I don't do this because I'm not patient, but if I were cooking with my grandchildren, I might have one of them stirring water. Hey, just stir the water in that bowl. Now at the end of it, they're going to think Pops and I made this meal, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And I think quite often God is giving us that job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so when we realize that, how can we look at any other people as lower than us, or we're the savior, we're the we're the one
Yeah.
that's making it, we're not. So as I'm a
Yeah.
preacher, and you got me preaching.
Yeah.
I
Right.
apologize.
No, no. I
Um,
agree.
the what would you say has been the biggest challenge for you guys?
Keeping up with the demand. I mean, we constantly have a wait list. Initially, when we started, we were seeking out families through an online platform called Care Portal, which is amazing. And then as the word started getting out, I mean, we are getting referrals from Red Cross, from DCS, from Healthy Families. Like we're getting so many referrals, which is amazing.
Hmm.
But just being able to keep up with the need. We have a small storage space. So when we first started, we took, and we still do, we do take donations for sure of beds and dressers, and diapers and wipes, but it's hard to store somebody's, full-sized bed. Whereas if we get enough monetary donations, beds in a box are great. They're easy to store. We can store a ton in our storage unit. I can deliver those by myself if I need to.
Right.
Whereas if it's a full size bed, I can't deliver that by myself because the mattress is bulky. So we do love donations as far as like household, items from people, but also monetary donations are great to just help us to quickly get that out the door is, our goal. So keeping up, keeping our supply up with the demand has been a problem. And then just getting the volunteers. There's so many ways to volunteer in this space. So, you could go out on a delivery, which is amazing, but you could also agree to go pick somebody's bed up from their house and put it in our storage unit. We do discipleship, so you could do that. I mean, the one-on-one that I have with families, that's always out there and available. So there are lots and lots of ways to volunteer. So just getting more people and more volunteers also.
So what you mentioned there was not only the items, but really the finances to get the items. That's almost
Yes.
even better in a certain way
Yes,
because otherwise you need a bigger warehouse. And I know you and I
exactly.
and Dawn have talked about that. But that gets expensive, and
Yeah.
so that was just an added cost. Whereas if people would go online and donate, people, please, that's one of the reasons we're doing these. Go online and donate, go directly to A Dwelling Place Inc. It
Hmm.
would be so phenomenal, to help make a difference in lives. And folks, you are touching lives. You are helping families stay together. And unless you've ever been there, when they're pulling a kid out of a house, you haven't experienced the
Yeah.
awfulness that is. Um, I can go back 30 plus years and just faces are going through my mind. Um, whether it's here in Indy or in other places I've done work, just to
Yeah. It's the
watch the
worst.
horror. And the thing was, Emily, one of them was a young lady whose mom was a crack addict, who actually was abusive. And when I was there, when the police were pulling her out of that apartment, the pain she was going through was
Mhm.
amazing. And her name was Fubi, and I'm telling you, I still live with that in my mind. So, folks, what they're
Yeah.
doing is keeping families together, and that is so vital. And then not only that, but then ministering to the family. So, folks, find a way you can make a difference, and you don't have to go reinvent a whole ministry to do it. They're already doing it. Just link up with them. Link up by volunteering, link up through finances, do something that you can work alongside of them and touch a life. The life you touch will be touched forever. And so please, work alongside them. Anything you'd like to say there at the end? We got about another minute or so. What do you
No, the only on that note, I mean, it is amazing when you think about, we were just talking about this at a board meeting yesterday. We're not an organization that needs hundreds of thousands of dollars to operate monthly. We need about $5,000 a month in order to fill all of our requests in a way that we see appropriate, right? Like
Mhm.
we are particular about the stuff we get out. We don't want someone's trash. Like we want nice things if you're going to donate it.
Sure.
So we are particular about those things, but just in looking at our need, um, if we had about $5,000 a month regularly coming in, we could serve so many families in Marion County. I
Yep.
mean, it would allow us and afford us. So it, and yeah, I mean, $5,000 is a lot, but compared to a lot of organizations and their operating costs, it's not that much. I mean, so every little bit helps. Every little amount that you can do helps. We have something on our website that shows if you give this much, this is what, a crib or, whatever. Like it's not a lot. So
Mm.
yeah, it's all helpful.
$5,000 a month is so doable. That's 100 people
Yes.
doing $50, and
Yes.
that is so doable. And I know you already have regular givers, um, but to be able to step it up to that would be phenomenal. So, folks, allow God to work through you to
Yeah.
make a difference in a dwelling place, because when you do that, you're touching lives, and it's just amazing. I'll be honest with you, folks, to connect with a dwelling place was definitely a move from God.
Mhm.
And we're okay. We're not actually on a time limit, but it it was a mistake almost as to how we met up with you guys. And I know you know that, but
Yeah.
I've been friends with Dawn's daughter for years. She volunteered with us, but I was having a bad day the day that her daughter ran into us, and I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I was having a bad day. I don't know if anybody else has those. And yet she walked up to me where my wife and I were at, and she said, "Pastor Chad," and I was like, "Oh, hey," and because I hadn't seen her in a long time, I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And when she found out what we were doing, she was, "You got to talk to my mom." And that's
Yeah.
how it happened. It was like, okay, I'm in a bad, I just having a bad day. And I just, again, everything in my life was kind of crazy. My wife's going through some issues. And I was like, man, I don't want to be a pastor today. And God did that. And it's been so amazing. You guys are phenomenal. Hopefully many will link up with you. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you for being a
Yeah.
part
And
of
thank
us.
you. I mean, we obviously have certainly appreciated your vision of connecting nonprofits and businesses. Everybody that you're connecting has been so beneficial to
Good.
us. I mean, it's been amazing. So we are super thankful for you too.
Thank you. And again, because our we do the connecting, and we keep hoping to build that sense of community. And I think it's coming around. So we love you
Yeah,
guys. Love what you're
love you
doing.
too.
And I will talk to you later. God bless, folks. Go online to a dwelling place and connect up with them. All right. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.